Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about something I have had a lot of experience with in my life. Obviously there is a lot of content out there on, how to identify narcissistic behavior, the relationship between empaths and narcissists. There's a lot of information out there on this topic. But something that I've noticed from my own personal experience and just like many conversations that I've had with other individuals, it's such a common occurrence for people to go around labeling other people as narcissists. And we live in a world that thrives off narcissism, and I believe most people in this world, in this society, I strongly believe that most people have some kind of narcissistic traits. We literally live in a world that teaches us to be narcissistic. Like, obviously it's really not a loving way to be, and it's something that I've noticed and I think needs to be addressed, because I think people are so quick to labeling someone as a narcissist. Obviously those people do exist, and I have dealt with those kind of people. But I've also dealt with a lot of people who I do not believe are narcissists, but they have portrayed narcissistic qualities and acted in narcissistic ways. I have also noticed within myself that I actually took on some narcissistic qualities as coping mechanisms to protect myself. And yeah, I just wanted to open this topic of conversation because I find it really interesting, and it's so easy to play the victim and just point the finger at the other person and be like, you're a fucking narcissist. I swear, most people are narcissistic. The difference is people with NPD know what they're doing, will do anything to try and hide it and mask it so that they can keep getting away with what they're doing. But there are a lot of people in this world who may have a few narcissistic traits, but once you actually bring it up with them, or once they start doing the work to self-reflect and they realize they have that, will want to change that, will want to work on that, because they're good people. An actual narcissist does not want to better themselves, and they might pretend that they do. I have seen that, and they will always pretend that they're trying to be a good person, but you won't ever actually see any consistent improvement or change in their behavior. That is the difference. Another topic which is spoken about a lot is the dynamic and relationship between the empath and the narcissist. And I think this is a very valid conversation, a very real thing that happens. And I have absolutely experienced this, but there's one thing that I've noticed. When I started recovering from narcissistic abuse, and I really started researching it and watching all of these videos and educating myself on it, I noticed that there was one thing that was missing. I noticed that there was no talk about one particular aspect that I had really had questions about, as someone who has always felt incredibly naturally empathic. And what I noticed was there's all of this information out there about the dynamic between the empath and the narcissist, and so much information out there, what happens when you're in it, how to get out of it, how to recover, blah blah blah. But I noticed that there is no talk about the fact that people who are empathic and go through narcissistic abuse, we at some point develop our own narcissistic traits as coping mechanisms. Obviously, we've been around these narcissistic people for probably quite a long time, and I have seen talk about this, people talking about super empaths who take those narcissistic traits and use them against the narcissist and blah blah blah. And like, so I have seen that, which that was like, it was good to find something on the topic. But no one speaks about after you get out of the abusive situations and when you finally start healing. The thing is these narcissistic traits that we have taken on from our abusers to use as coping mechanisms, they don't just like disappear once we're out of the narcissistic abuse. They've become a way that we relate in the world, you know, even after the abuse, even while we're healing and getting therapy, and, you know, even when we're doing the inner work. Like, for example, for quite a while, I was actually questioning whether I was a narcissist because I noticed like that I had some narcissistic traits and I was so confused. I was like, what is going on? Like, and there was no information out there. And I was like questioning it for a long time. I was like, am I empathic? Am I just highly sensitive? Like, am I a narcissist? Like, because I have these coping mechanisms. And it was so confusing and I questioned myself for a long time. And that's also a big sign of abuse, and just like questioning yourself and all of that. For most of this past year or so, I have been quite alone in my healing process, which has been good in so many ways, but not super helpful in the sense of like, you know, being like, who actually am I in the world? Like, and I guess that also caused me to isolate myself even more, because I was like, if I'm a narcissist, like, I don't want to be out there in the world until I've like figured it out. But yeah, so it's been a very confusing, confronting, and challenging journey. But now that I've healed so much, and obviously my whole life I see as a healing journey for my soul, but I have really done a lot of work, and I've really peeled back the layers enough to see the truth of who I really am and like kind of see it in a bigger perspective. And I don't even need to explain myself to anybody, not to you guys, not to anybody, but through the self-inquiry process, like, I really had to gain like inventory of qualities of myself that I'd, you know, displayed in the world over like my whole life. And basically the conclusion I've come to is that I'm definitely a very empathetic person and I am not a narcissist. And I have, recognized that I took on some narcissistic qualities from my conditioning in my childhood. Yeah, I've really like discerned that like there were these personality traits that came across and were narcissistic, and, you know, really hurt some people that were close to me, which, you know, absolutely freaking sucks. I had to go through like a huge period of like coming to terms with how much I had hurt people because of my narcissistic qualities that I was unconsciously using to protect myself and just like completely unaware of. Basically, it feels amazing to have come to this point where I don't question myself anymore. Sometimes I get intrusive thoughts, but ultimately I know who I am. And I've been able to heal a lot of those patterns that were causing me to act in those ways. For a lot of you who are watching this, you know, you may be wondering and questioning the same thing. And I think that it's really incredibly important that we all just recognize that the difference between a narcissist and like any other type of person really is that a narcissist will not want to change their behavior when confronted with this information. Like, they will not want to self-reflect, they will not want to do the work, they will continue finding excuses and reasons and ways to cover up their behavior so that they can keep being manipulative and keep just being the way they are. They basically will always just want a reason to they will never want to work on themselves. Like, they will never genuinely, truly, like, they might pretend, but you know, time will always tell. Like, these people do not want to change for the better. And I think that that is like the key ingredient to recognizing a true narcissist. And I think it's important for us to recognize that there are a lot of people in this world who have developed narcissistic traits, because we are literally conditioned by society, by the media, to develop narcissistic traits. Like, anybody who genuinely will take the opportunity to self-reflect and work on themselves to be better, anybody who embodies that quality of self-improvement and like just genuinely wanting to be a better and good person, and you can like see that like over time, like that kind of person can never be a narcissist, because that it just goes against everything that a narcissist truly is. And yeah, I just think it's important for us to recognize how easy it is to point the finger and project that label onto someone when they actually might be really doing their best to become a better person. And if we don't give people a chance to show who they really are, it's really actually super ignorant, because at the end of the day, we are all reflecting each other, and there is narcissism in like every corner and crevice of this world, and it's something we are on the way to like fully realizing. And I just want to say, think before you point the finger. There is a very clear and distinct difference. I truly hope that this video helps some of you out there who might be experiencing the same or similar like inner conflict, and shed light on just this concept in general. Also, people who may have done this and pointed the finger at someone and called them a narcissist and like victimize themselves. Everyone who comes into your life and every situation that comes into your life is a reflection of something within you. And I've got a whole other video on this topic of karma, and I'll link it up here. But yeah, it's important for us to take accountability and look within to really find out why we're attracting certain experiences, certain people, certain situations into our life. We cannot attract something into our life unless it's something that we already have within us. And I know that is not an easy pill to swallow. It definitely wasn't for me. But I promise you, it is so worth it to go in and do that inner work and find the healing it takes to start attracting a reality that is actually aligned with your true values and who you truly are, without all these layers and conditioning that are stopping us from being the best versions of ourselves. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up now. I am sending you so much love and so much gratitude for being here with me on this journey. And if you're here to become the best version of yourself, then I absolutely bow down to you. Things are getting really exciting, and if you're on this journey with me, we are doing some of the most powerful work that a human can do in a lifetime. So I bow down to you. Thank you so much for existing. Thank you so much for being you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening. Make sure to take care of yourself, nurture yourself, and love yourself, because you are enough and nothing can take that away from you. Peace out.